Good morning, class. I am going to talk to you about cursive today. When you guys answered my attendance question, most of you said that the W was the last one that you did as a class. So, looking back through our cursive booklet, the W is the last one of the upswing, and then you have some practices. So go ahead and do the practice 1 and the practice 2 and the practice 3. Remember, you really only need about 5, 6, 7-ish on the line. You don't have to fill up all these spaces, okay? I know some of you really like to fit as many as you can on there, but don't stress about that. Our next ones are our curve letters. So you'll see it says each of the lowercase curve letters begin on the base line, that bottom line, curves up to the midline and rolls back around to the baseline. Okay, so you'll see here we have our letters. This is an A, D, G, this is a Q, I know, this is a Q, a C, and an O. So you'll see here how it starts on the baseline, and it goes up to the midline, and then back down to the baseline. So you'll see here, again, each time they start at that baseline and they curve up. I'm making that circle so you can see my pen. It's kind of a skinny pen. So you see that curve, and then you go back around. So we're going to go ahead and look at this page here where it describes the strokes of the curve. Again, you're going to start at the baseline, and you're going to roll up to the midline. Okay, so here are the different strokes. We have a roll, and please pay attention to the arrows. They tell you where to go. So the roll goes this way. So you're starting here. The swing starts on the bottom and swings up. Down starts in the midline and goes down. The drop swoop starts at the midline, but it actually drops below that baseline and curves back up. The drop hook does the same thing where it starts at the midline, it drops below the baseline, but it swings back forward. Where this one's swinging backwards, this one's swinging forwards. And then the dip is just a little tiny dip. I like to think of it as like someone holding something out in their hand like this, like a little cup. These are the stroke names that you're going to see when we describe our letters. So we'll get to that here in a second. What I want you to do over here on this big page, I want you to practice just this main curve because you're going to do that a lot for the curve letters. So again, start at that baseline. I like to make dots to show me where I'm going to start. There we go. And I'm going to curve up to the midline. I'm going to curve up to the midline. I'm going to curve up to the midline. You notice it kind of looks like a really flattened out S or straightened out S. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn the page, and it's going to explain to me how to make that A. I'm going to do my best to use the vocabulary, okay? So it says here, the first thing you need to do is curve. Hey, look at that. We talked about the curve here. Curve to the midline, and then roll back to the baseline. So the roll back is right here, coming back around. And then you're going to swing to the midline. Notice the bold letters are telling you what to do. That's the action. The swing is here. And then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to go down to the baseline. All right, and that's going to create your A. If you look, this is a printed A. Looks pretty similar, doesn't it? But this here, you have the lead. Oh, sorry. This here, you have the lead to your A. And this here, you have the, let's say, follow. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and practice that one down here. I'm going to do an A, and I bet you guessed this is a D. Okay, so I'm going to curve up to the midline. Let me make my dot. Curve up to the midline. Let me watch my hand. Then I'm going to roll back around to the baseline. Swing up to the middle and down to the baseline. Now, I have a pretty skinny marker right now. It's a flare pen. So you're going to see how these kind of go over the lines on each other. If you use a different marker like a Crayola marker or something, you're not going to see those as much. If you want to use a pencil or a pen, that's fine. But don't get too worried and too hung up on that stuff right now. Right now, we're just practicing the strokes, okay? The D, you'll notice, is very similar. The only difference, is it goes to the top line instead of stopping at the midline. So let's do this again. So I'm going to put my starter dot. I'm going to, and I'm just reading right here. All right. That's all I'm doing. So if you want to say that to yourself as you're practicing, go ahead. So I'm going to curve up to the midline, roll back around to the baseline, swing tall to the top line, swing down to the baseline. So you'll notice it's the same, except for you swing tall and you get up to that top line, okay? So when you come over here for your practice pages, again, if you want to skip these really tiny ones, that's okay. I don't mind doing them because I'm pretty good with my cursive, but I know that's really hard for some of us. So if you want to skip those first two, that's fine. And I know a strategy we've also talked about is starting with the big ones and practicing those and then working our way up as we get better. It can get smaller. Your choice on what you want to do. And again, don't worry about fitting a back to back to back to back. You can fit maybe 5, 7, 8 on here if you want and move on because you have plenty of practice, okay? And then the second page is your D. Same thing, but again, you're going to go up to the tall line, just like that. Okay, let me do one of the bigger ones. And if you don't remember, guys, remember you can always start right here and trace this one until your hand gets comfortable with making that letter. So sometimes I just like to go over it again and again. And for friends who forget how to form it, remember, follow that arrow, okay? But sometimes it's just good for your hand to get the practice before you go do it on your own. You are more than welcome to keep tracing this. And once you feel comfortable and confident in how you're creating your letters, go ahead and come on down here. I'm going to do one of these bigger ones so you can see. All right. When you get finished with them, circle your favorite ones. Put little stars next to them. Be proud of yourself because cursive is difficult. All right, so this is our cursive for today. We're going to start doing these daily. So if you have extra time in your day to go to work on your cursive, I suggest doing that. And then also, if you have not done these practice pages, you can do those as well. But right now we're going to focus on moving forward with new letters, okay? So I look forward to doing some cursive again with you tomorrow. Bye.